Greetings, fellow humans. Wayne the Crimson Eye here. It's no secret that I love the Zelda series. The top-down games are among my favorites in the series. There's far more pure level design in those games than in the 3D games, and they were a far bigger part of my childhood. As far as 5th generation consoles go, believe it or not, even a Nintendo fanboy like myself would have to go for the PS1 over the N64. Many gamers are apprised of the fact that many game devs jumped ship over to the PlayStation because of Nintendo's stubborn insistence on sticking with cartridge games. Mega Man, Street Fighter, Final Fantasy, and apparently the Zelda series as we knew it. As good and revolutionary as Ocarina of Time was, it was a bit too streamlined for my tastes. It took the series to a new direction, but even as a kid, I felt that there was something just missing from it. Unbeknownst to many Nintendo gamers, the PlayStation got the Zelda game that old-school fans like myself would have killed for. From the top-down view, the surprise items, to even the fact that Jess looks like Link's uncle, this game has Zelda written all over it. When I was released into the main world, I was pleasantly surprised at how compact the world was. Many of my favorite open worlds in video games are smaller, allowing for more pure level design. The world is densely packed with places to be and things to do. Wandering off the beaten path can net you a profusion of goodies. If A Link to the Past was Super Zelda, Alundra would be Ultra Zelda. Retrieving items actually works very similar to the original Zelda and A Link to the Past, wherein quite a few items you get may not necessarily be required to advance the game, but are nice to have with you regardless. Side note, apparently there are some items that can be missed. I learned that the hard way. All I'm gonna say is that those Gilded Falcons are very, very important. The game is packed to the gills with dungeons, with exploration, puzzles, and challenging bosses. Though this game is top-down, it does have something of a third dimension. Any of you who have watched Egoraptor's sequelitis will know that Aaron made mention of a selective Z-axis. Here it's actually far less selective and more of an actual Z-axis translated into 2D, which allows for the game to make for more platform-based puzzle solving. On that note, it's actually a bit more puzzle-heavy than the Zelda games before it, and there are quite a few head-scratchers in there. Which also brings me to its biggest fault and biggest strength. A quality it shares with the original Zelda, incidentally. In stark contrast with Ocarina of Time, Alundra is the kind of game that leaves you to your own devices and make your own way in the world. Discovering goodies on a whim was an incredibly satisfying feeling and brought back the giddiness I felt when I blew open the right wall in the original Zelda. At the same time though, I couldn't help but feel that it was a little stingy with some of its directions, and I found myself discovering the right way simply because I happened to sniff in the right direction by chance. If you're a curious enough gamer, you'll make it through the game just fine. Otherwise, you'll want to consult a walkthrough from time to time. Another difficulty I've had with the game is with some of the platforming sections. Had they given Alundra just a few more inches to his jump, some of the puzzles would have been immensely less headache-inducing. If you have a good eye, navigating your way through the world shouldn't be too hard, otherwise the pathfinding might be a tad confusing. Combat is also very similar to A Link to the Past, with some additions. You're given a standard sword swing in an arc at the beginning, and are given more methods of attack as the game advances. Like I said, some weapons help you get past a roadblock, while others are just really handy to have in a fight. Enemies are perfectly balanced and pose a good threat. However, while boss fights can be decently challenging, they tend to last a touch too long for my liking, especially for how limited their attack patterns can be. Also, in stark contrast to many of the Zelda games in general, Alundra has a far more involved story as well. You're given a few minutes of cutscenes in the beginning, but the cutscenes in the overall are paced quite well so as to respect player agency. Your main character is a blank slate like Link, but the story is held up by your supporting characters. People are experiencing life-threatening nightmares, and it's your job to save them and get to the bottom of whatever's causing it. A bit like Nightmare on Elm Street. Sometimes you will be able to pull them out of that threat, other times you may not be so successful. Many of the nightmares actually serve as the game's dungeons with some gimmicks here and there. At one point, one character even helps you solve the puzzles. I kind of wish I got to explore some more dungeons with her, considering she's also a dreamwalker, and I kind of liked her. As it stands though, I was pleasantly surprised by its narrative offerings that I actually wouldn't mind the Zelda games exploring a little more. In conclusion, Alundra is a fantastic game for fans who might have been starved for a more traditional Zelda game around the time Ocarina of Time came around. It is positively brimming with content and shit to do, it's a great challenge, and I might even go so far as to say it's a better Zelda than Zelda. But what do you guys think? Leave your responses in the comment section below. This is Wayne the Crimson Eye, over and out.